He was going to the college here and earn a degree, go back to the reservation in Montana. When his dad come here to see what went on, he stayed in my home. And I went to court with him. He testified before that judge and told him what happened. And the judge told that father who had just lost his son that all that information was hearsay and it didn't count. When he first heard that his son died, he thought that it was his boy that was overseas in the army. When he found out that it was Byron that was going to school over here, he couldn't believe that. In peacetime. Well, we're not in peacetime. We've been at war for 30, 40 years now. War was declared. And we're under siege in a troubled time here, There's a lot that you young people could accomplish, like the gentleman said. This is your world. This belongs to you. And whatever you do, pay attention, be alert, be watchful. Be vigilant that you don't get caught in that trap. I don't believe in injustice because justice is just us. And they should take that dumb out of free. It's not freedom. Those of us who live free aren't stupid, aren't backward, aren't ignorant, aren't dumb. Even though I never went to school, I didn't need it. Sure, I went back later and got a piddly-ass degree, in clinical psychology. So I'm a PhD, college graduate. But I have no idea what that means, what it entails, because I can't get a job. I don't want one, but it's just a thought. See. So when I got that little piece of paper, I took it back home and tapped it to my grandma's outhouse wall in the toilet there and said, "Look at what I did, Grandma. I accomplished something." But it's hard for me to look at your world here in crisis, people struggling. In the little town where I come from, there's 2,500 homeless. Most of them are school-age kids like yourself, going to school from the street. A lot of them are mothers with children, homeless, not helpless. Not, at a loss for what to do. If you take percentage, 68% of women who are locked up are mothers with children. That's a shame. On any reservation you would go to, 67%, 77%, 87%, from 6 to 18 suicide rate is 86%. That's a shame. These young people, bright, intelligent, capable, don't want to live anymore. In Oklahoma, there was a 6-year-old kid. His entrance into a gang was to kill somebody. So I went into the supermarket parking lot and went to lock up for that, to join a gang, to be in a gang. I am one that believes in peace and harmony and tranquility and togetherness and caring and sharing equally the responsibilities that we have as adults. But when I look at percentage and all the problems that are all across this land, I start to thinking, why did I do what I did? I spent 38 years of my life behind bars. Just like you said, for something that they said I did. And this hair that I got, I went in with it and I come out with it. They didn't let me take care of it, but I did the best I could. I spent 11 years in solitary confinement for not cutting my hair. And a life sentence that I had, so that was my home for the rest of my life, I thought, until a little guy named Joseph Earl Miranda, my little Puerto Rican buddy, put that writ into the Supreme Court, and I was out of there, along with 595 others. So when I walked out of the prison, I got called into the warden's office, and the warden said, "Mr. Crow, I don't know how you do it, I don't know how you did it, but you're out of here. I hope you don't come back." And I said, "I'll try." So after the siege at Wounded Knee, we started doing something for elders and women and children and old people and less fortunate. I was a teacher in an alternative education program at a school called Heart of the Earth in Minnesota. I had my own school in Wisconsin called the Keeper of the Feather Survival School. Taught young people just like yourselves. Again, from 6 to 18. The parents were there. Grandparents were there. The relatives were there. It was an educational educational program. And again, when that cowboy actor got in there, all of that went. Including my job, I was director of Indian Services here in the Pacific Northwest for 25 years. So there was a lot that, people could do. All they have to do is want to do it, have the will to do it. When Winona LaDuke was, she ran for vice president, my Ojibwa buddy, friend, we people of this Western Hemisphere got to come to some basic understanding and realization that if we don't do something, even if it's nothing, if we don't do something, it's not the powers that be. It's the will to survive. It's the heartfelt earnestness that we need a better, not a system, but a better way to live. We need healthier food. We need clean water. We need a better space, a better place to live. So here in Eugene, there's a lot of community service done. A lot of these communities work with the police department, the welfare participants, the communities around here work together. Sure, you got a college here, you know, but I used to live here. I lived here for 15 years. And I got to know all the business people and all the townspeople and the members of the police department and all the educated people. This school here, me and the school go pretty far back. I used to have to come in here and talk about the discipline of native students that were here, because we react different to discipline. It's not that we don't like it, it's we don't want anybody rioting us when it's not necessary. We're not slow learners. We're not undereducated, you know. We may have come from a reservation, but that don't make us dumb or not being able to learn quickly enough for the rest of the students. The only thing that I had when I was in school was sports. You know? I was a long distance runner and a boxer. The only thing that we had at the time was golden gloves, you know, and that was it, you know. We got to go to every state, participated tournaments. But when I became an ex-con, you know, I liked the martial arts, you know, and I couldn't participate, you know, because I was an ex-con. I couldn't have my toys, as they say, you know, the things that I needed to do my practices. So I have a lot to say and a lot to offer, but I don't like to talk down to you, you know, or talk at you. I want your input, your participation. I may not hear you distinctly because a little hard of hearing, you know, but I like to know how you feel in your heart, you know. What do you think about how you have to live? What you have to do to survive? What's your feelings about how the world is? Do you believe that ISIS is set apart? Do you believe that all these groups that are in this war, do you believe what your government is telling you about the actuality of it? Because look what happened at Pearl Harbor. Look what happened at the Bay of Pigs. If you go back in your history, what really happened has been instilled in you, ingrained in you. You have to believe what they tell you. No, you don't. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe anything that anybody tells you, even me. Because, and, you know, I like to talk, so when they said 20 minutes, 15 minutes, you know, I'm like him, you know, I could, you know, talk.
Oh yeah, we could listen. And so
Yeah.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna hear from all of you, and then that way make sure everybody
Yeah.
gets a chance to speak, and then we'll have tons of questions. So don't worry about that part.
Yeah.
Are you feeling good about? Thank you. Give them a round of applause.
Yeah.